Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with the Frozen J.Beau on this wonderful February 11th, 2025 in Maine. As you can see, since our last walk, we've had snow. Then we've had more snow. Then we had more snow. And tomorrow night we're going to get more snow. Saturday night we're going to get snow. Sunday we're going to get 7 more inches of snow. All of a sudden, after pretty much most of this winter thus far, not really having any snow, the jet stream has come up a little higher in the country. I'd like to say it brought warmer temperatures for us, but it hasn't, as you can see by the treacherous walking conditions I have. I wanted to get out and have a walk. We'll see if I regret that decision. The reason why I chose to walk tonight, despite it being 20 degrees, is there's no wind. Usually when it's this cold, it's a little breezy here. So when we get days like today, where there's not much wind, I mean, the wind speed is literally like 0. So I don't have to cover my face. And I am using the head cam view because I'm wearing thicker gloves and I don't want to do a selfie stick carrying that while walking on ice. So I need to pay attention to where I'm walking. So you won't have to see my mug in this video, which probably will make you happy anyways. So if you want to see what it's like in Maine as a normal winter, and you can see the snow and tracks through the snow. I climbed over a snowbank earlier. After exiting my bank. So I'm just gonna walk. I'm not gonna have any sidewalks to walk on the sides of the road, and it is at night, so I'm not going to take any routes where there's no sidewalks. So we are going to we'll go down this way, and also walking on a rougher surface and having to dig my cleats in more to walk. I'm gonna spend more time tying my boot, I'm sure, than I would like. And I'd like to walk at least 5 miles tonight. And yes, you're gonna hear me sniffle. It's 20 degrees. I think I'm allowed that courtesy. Now, the last time I wore this on my head, I was worried about how the video was going to come out and be jumping around all over the place. And it actually wasn't too bad as this person backed out without seeing me. Because most people aren't out walking when it's this cold. And it's actually warmer than it has been today. So last night was below 0. We had -7, and we also had negative cold in Fahrenheit, -7 Fahrenheit. So now the bad news is we're midway through February. Typically this is the time of year in Maine where gas prices are the cheapest. And right now we have $2.99 and 9/10. So that's $3 a gallon. And that needs to come down. And it's going to take a while to get prices down. That has been made very clear. President Trump's only been sworn in for 3 weeks. I know it seems like 3 years. But not enough time has gone by yet to have things take effect. Deregulating everything is a big step. He did that. That's going to take some time to catch up. It's really unfortunate the Biden administration did what they did, because we'd be in pretty damn good shape right now if they hadn't done that. They had just left things alone. But none of these decisions were done by Biden anyway. He's out to space, out to lunch, gone, literally and figuratively. As you can see, all this ice here. That's all ice, it's all frozen. I'm wearing some boots that have pretty good traction, hiking boots. My Nortiv 8 ones I told you guys about. What the fuck are you beeping about? Do you see that? Person's making a left-hand turn into a place, and the woman behind them is beeping because they made them stop in traffic while they made a turn. Isn't that crazy? So the person made an illegal turn, put on a blinker. People are so angry. Angry! Speaking of angry, the friggin' Democrats are pissed. They are very angry that Elon Musk is uncovering all their fraud. They're not happy about it. They consider Elon Musk the weak link to dismantle Trump because they don't understand what's going on, which they may understand it, but they're exploiting it for politics. because that's all the Democrats have, and it's not going to work. They're doing more of the same stuff that elected Trump right now. My Democrat congressman, Jared Golden, I've talked to you about him. He barely won re-election in a red district, and he's talking about the Democrats calming down and not making every little thing Trump does DEFCON 5 because it loses its zip. You know, the Democrats right now are the boy that cried wolf. Every little thing, they make a big, huge news cycle out of it. You know? And speaking of the news, they work in tandem with the Democrats, and they're embarrassing themselves again, too. Every little thing is constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. Everything with Trump has been a constitutional crisis since 2015. You just sound like a moron at this point. But I guarantee you, if you hear a liberal talking, they're going to say constitutional crisis. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, quote unquote, every other sentence in the media. The world's richest man. Just trying to demonize. And, you know, and then you have these activist judges, which, you know, I had told you before the election, if Trump won, these activist judges and Democrats were going to obstruct everything Trump does and file lawsuit after lawsuit. Remember I said that? And I also said it would be on a scale like we've never seen before. And that's what we're getting. Today, for crying out loud, a activist judge, a district judge, ruled that the Trump administration has to put the transgender medical websites back up on the .gov medical websites. Not exaggerating. A district judge is telling somebody the people voted for to get rid of that crap is trying to force the Trump administration to put those websites back, which he has no authority to do that. None. The judicial branch is the third branch of government. Their job is not to play politics, it's to interpret the law. Laws were not broken because the president has authority to decide what friggin' website is on a website. So a judge thinks he can force a president's administration to put a website back up. An informational website. If you can believe that. Just because of politics. So that is an activist judge. His name is John Bates. And I doubt the Republicans will do it. But they need to start impeaching these activist judges. Which they have the power to do. They're abusing their authority. And it's seditious behavior. Now the other option is, and Trump said tonight while signing executive orders, that he will obey the courts because he was asked if he was going to ignore the courts. It's really a shame because I think he should ignore this judge on that order. I really do. Because it's overreach. He's got no authority to do that. Nobody ever challenges these judges because that can be politically toxic. And they're just afraid of doing it. Even though it's the right thing to do. So, I don't know what your opinion is on that. But it's like, go ahead and rule what you want, but good luck trying to enforce it. What are you going to do? You're going to show up at a data center and point your gun at a programmer and force them to put the web pages back up? I would just ignore it. Let the Democrats use that as a tool for impeachment later when they win the House in 2026, which I'm not sure they will at this point, because they look pretty terrible. They have not handled this well at all. So they're just doing more of that. So they're still working on the church. So I got my blood flow going right now. I'm feeling warm. My face is a little cold, but it's starting to warm up because I'm walking and my blood's flowing. I've explained to you guys about how blood vessels expand when you exercise, cardio. That's why when you're exerting yourself in cold weather and hot weather, you get warmer. So in hot weather, when you exert yourself, you can get dangerously life-threatening problems. And you know, I'm a Mainer. I'm used to walking on ice and snow. A lot of people come up here from down south. They're not used to walking on this. They fall in their can all the time. They don't understand how to let your body test its weight while walking. After a while, you get to see the way light reflects off stuff, what is slippery and what isn't. The worst thing that you can do nothing about, even if you're used to it, is when you get a loose coating of snow on top of the ice, because the snow will act like these little greasy ball bearings, and that's very dangerous. But this is actually good walking conditions. Some of this crusty ice is nice to walk on. So we got some leftover Christmas decor here. Still up. So anyway, we are in the middle of probably the greatest presidency I have ever seen. It's only been 3 weeks, and it's been almost 2 weeks since we last talked. And I gotta tell you, Trump is still referring to Canada as the 51st state, which is hilarious. Canada is starting to get some patriotism about that, which is good for Canada, because patriotism there has been dead. They haven't had any. Last time they had some was the trucker convoy, and the government squashed that in a hurry. So we get this tariff thing going on, and basically it's what I was saying before Trump was sworn in, when he does this tariff thing, that like Trump said this week, you know, we're the piggy bank, we're the big dog in town, and we're not competing to have stuff sold in Canada. We can make our own lumber, we can make our own steel, we can make our own anything that Canada has to offer. We even have moose here. So Canada is going to come up short in that. They're going to put on this show for a little while, and then they're going to look at the books and realize this isn't going to work. And Mexico has already seen the light on that. She held a lot of bluster there temporarily, but she caved. Canada caved somewhat. But this guy named Singh, who is vying for Trudeau's current job, thanks, vying for Trudeau's current job, has been talking about a 100% tariff on Tesla. Canada, of course, produces a Ford and GM cars. They don't want to lose their business. But I got news for you. The United States is going to lead the world in auto manufacturing and manufacturing of other things too. And basically, you know, how this works realistically, just so people understand, is when you tariff a company to import, and it's not a low tariff, you know, 25, 50%, that company is not going to keep doing that. What they're going to do is they're going to pack up where they are, and they're going to move into the United States, and they're going to give Americans jobs, and we're going to sell American-made products here, and those products will be comparable to the price before that company moved here. There's some short pain in the interim, okay? There's no getting around that, but that's going to be the end result. The Trump administration is deregulating and basically telling these companies, if you come here, you won't get tariffed. If you stay out of our country, employing people in Vietnam and places like that, and then thinking you're just going to import that stuff and make a big profit while we lose money and Americans don't work, it's not going to happen. So this is a big deal that's going on, and it's the beginning of a new golden age. Trump's going to do a good job. This is going to be his life's epitaph, basically, and the next Republican that runs for office should be able to slide right in regardless of who it is. If it's J.D. Vance, well, that's wonderful. If it's somebody else, it'll have to be somebody riding the success of Trump. So if Trump does terribly, this is going to be very bad. So we need Trump to do well. And the Democrats could see the writing on the wall. So they're pulling all the stops. And you have to remember, they thought they had Trump defeated already. They thought Trump was going to go to jail for life. He would be out of the picture. And Kamala Harris probably would have been elected. Hate to say that. But as dumb as she was, and the ridiculous crap they were pushing, they tried to play moderate, and they tried to get the media to get her over the line. Enough of the public didn't believe, because she wasn't a good candidate. She just wasn't. So the election really wasn't close, but it was closer than it should have been, I guess is the point I'm making. And we need to show results so that doesn't happen in the next one. because they're probably going to have somebody that can speak properly. I'm going to watch this ice here. So I'm going to walk on here. Hope you're enjoying this. And make sure nobody's coming. As we pass the drugstore and the recreational cannabis shop across the street. Perfectly legal to smoke pot here in Maine. So that was on referendum. People voted for it. So that's democracy. Vermont, they didn't even bother. They just had a vote in the legislature and made it legal. And nobody cared in Vermont. So I think there's bigger problems out there than smoking pot. Anyways, it is pretty crazy to see everything that's happening right now. It's absolutely crazy the levels that the Democrats are starting to take it to. They have regrouped. They've gotten their second wind. But the problem for them is they're doing more of what they did already to lose. So, I mean, that's good. They're making a big deal out of DOGE, D-O-G-E, Department of Government Efficiency. And they're shining a spotlight on it, is what they're doing. Their best move would have been not to talk about it. But they can't do that. They consider Elon Musk the weak link in the Trump campaign, the Trump presidency, because he's a billionaire. They think they can get people to turn against them. Problem is, Elon Musk spoke to the media tonight and told the truth to the American people with transparency. Also, he stated the obvious, that he knew when he did this that people were going to be crawling up his ass, basically, with every little thing he does, looking for anything to prosecute him with, he said. And he knows that. He said everything he does, you know, he said like SpaceX. He said when SpaceX is doing a government contract, Elon's not sitting there personally doing all this business. You know, SpaceX is a separate company, he said. They have a board, they have executives. And just like any other company. So they're trying to make it sound like with the public that Elon Musk is looking at all this information, Social Security and all this stuff, and he's going in there making government deals for himself to enrich himself. And he's already the world's richest person. And he said he understands that any little thing that he did will be scrutinized under a microscope, and there's no way he would be able to get away with anything. So, in other words, he was saying, go ahead and do what you're going to do. Trump said the same thing today. Just, you know, go ahead. If you feel like this is the best move for Democrats, go ahead and do that. But, you know, this information that's coming out, it's going to be tough to justify going after Elon Musk and Trump, trying to stop them from showing what they're showing, because that makes you look bad. Taxpayers right now are pissed. I am. I can't believe it. You know, $200 billion a year of government waste at the least. That's the bottom. It's probably higher than that. And that's coming out for the first time. For the first time. tonight during that press conference, they revealed people have had government contracts for 30 years where the government contract ended after 30 days. 30 years ago, the government contract ended after 30 days, and checks are still going to these people 30 years later, unchecked. Nobody ever stopped the payments. And he said it's either kickbacks, which is most likely what it is, he said, or it's just sheer incompetence and people aren't keeping track. But he said there's $200 billion a year going out the door unchecked. They have seen that on the books. They can provide that evidence, they can prove it. And it's going to come to the point where the Democrats aren't going to be able to defend it. That's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. They're having their fun right now, and they're going to end up looking like the stupid people they are, because they jumped on the first shiny thing to exploit without being patient and doing what my Democrat congressman said, making everything DEFCON 5 so it loses that luster. If everything is a constitutional crisis, then every time you say it, it doesn't mean anything. And just like the, everybody's racist, everything's racist. Well, now calling somebody a racist doesn't really have any effect at all like it used to, because they've worn it out, they've overused it. So they keep having to bring it up a notch. So the reality is there's really nothing they can do about Trump and what he's doing other than file lawsuits, and those are going to fail too. But like Trump said tonight, what happens with that is you're slowing down progress. You're just bogging everything down that eventually is going to come out anyway. And he goes, why would a judge want to overrule the majority vote of the people and usurp democracy on things like what they talked about tonight? The amount of fraud is unbelievable. And now I see Democrats on TV tonight talking about how they agree that there is fraud, but this shouldn't be done this way. And so they're already starting to get it. I mean, they're going to have to get it. They're not going to be able to say that they're lying, okay? That's really the whole point. And there's transparency. So my prediction is we'll have another week or two of Democrats trying to whip things up into a frenzy and get protesters out, which isn't going to work. It's not going to work. And they've already given up on the trans stuff, except for this activist judge who demanded that the government websites get put back up, which of course that's just going to get appealed. I'd ignore it. I would just appeal it. And like Trump said tonight, they're going to appeal these lawsuits, but it takes time to do appeals. It can take months. So in the meantime, you got to leave everything as it is. And he said, and tonight, when you do that, they see the news stories about uncovering government contracts and people still getting paid. Well, people are going to go out of their way to hide their tracks now. And it's going to be more difficult to prosecute and to punish these people. So, what does that mean? Well, that means with the judicial branch, you're going to have to activate the new AG, Pam Bondi, who is supposed to be in Trump's corner. And we're going to find out how much in Trump's corner she is. She has to do things within the law, And I did tell you that if she doesn't do anything about certain things, it'll be because legally she can't, and she knows that she doesn't have good legal standing to do so, even though it may seem like the right thing to do. She can pressure a radical judge like this by whatever legal means that she has available. So I'm pretty sure she'll do that. They have already announced that the immigration leaks that took place to Tom Homan, somebody close to them leaked raids information, and he said the problem with that is you know, great, you know, you're going to leak the information for political reasons, but you're not thinking about if this Tren de Agua Venezuelan gang is sitting inside somewhere waiting for them with a machine gun because they were tipped off somebody was coming. That puts officers' lives in risk, and that is a crime. That is a crime. And Tom Homan says they are going to be prosecuted. He goes, we got a pretty good idea where the leak came from and how it happened, and he said it's a matter of time. They are going to be caught. There's a full IG internal investigation going on with that. That takes a little bit, but eventually the message is going to get out with these people that this isn't a political game to play for CNN. That's very dangerous to people. So let's see, we're going to hang a right over here. We'll walk down this way. And as you can see, for the most part, the sidewalks are pretty clear outside schools. I'm going to be walking by a school up ahead here. Now across the street, the sidewalk's not really clear, but it is over here. So we walk where we can walk. Hope you're enjoying the walk and the view at night in the snow. Hopefully I have everything aimed at a good angle for everybody. If not, I'm sorry. I have it on the super view, widescreen, wide view, so it picks up as much of everything. I realize it has a fisheye kind of look to it. Every once in a while you'll see me slow down to test my footing when walking. The other mistake people make in the wintertime is when they're driving and they're not used to it. Like right now you get asphalt, that's easy to drive on normally, but if you were going to drive on something like, let's say, what's in front of me while I'm walking, you have to do everything slower. You need to put your brakes on sooner than you normally would. You also need to gradually start up when you take off to leave. If you just step on the gas real quick like you do in the summertime, you'll just spin your tires, and that generates heat. And you make ice under your tire, and you're just sitting there spinning your tires stuck. So a lot of people use traction control. That can be helpful, but from personal experience, I end up just turning traction control off and driving old school, the way they do in Finland. You gotta feel your car, you know? Good counter steer, because you're gonna oversteer or understeer, and you need to know what both of those are. And you need to understand how a car is moving. When you're starting to go sideways, like this, you don't put your brakes on. If you put your brakes on, you're going to spin out, lose control. So what you want to do is you want to turn your steering wheel into the direction you want to go, without touching the brake. And you want to throttle your gas a little bit. You want to feather your gas pedal and get yourself straightened out. And it is a skill that is acquired. It takes time and practice, but let me put it this way. I drive a rear-wheel drive Mustang, okay? Not the easiest car in the world to drive in bad weather. And you learn pretty quickly a lot of things. I remember one storm we had 6 inches of snow that was unplowed, and there were cars off the side of the road stuck. And here I am with a rear-wheel drive Mustang. Supposed to be something that you guaranteed you'd be stuck on the side of the road with. And I'm plowing up the hill sideways, just throttling the hell out of it with the wheel turned like I just described. And didn't get stuck. The other thing people don't know how to use is, if you have an automatic, your gear shift. Yes, you have drive, but you also have first and second speed, and D1 or D2 in your car, sometimes just 1 or 2. And if you put that down in second and drive 25 miles per hour in 35 or 40, while everybody else is off the side of the road stuck, you'll get all the traction you need, I promise you, if you have proper tires. And but you don't want to drive with that at highway speed. That'll wreck your transmission. But the reason why it's in your car is for the reason I just explained, and nobody uses it, or they're unaware. So all right, I'm gonna walk down this way, see if there's any college kids doing anything crazy tonight. It's at Bates College post and print store. And buy school supplies there. There's all kinds of stuff that students use. So I gotta tell you, I got a pretty good sweat going right now. I am wearing a long sleeve shirt, kind of a long sleeve polo shirt type thing. I'm wearing a t-shirt on top of that. Let's go across the street here. And I'm wearing a hoodie on top of that. And then I'm wearing my leather jacket. My leather jacket is a rather pricey one that I don't usually walk in. The reason why I don't like to walk in it is I don't want to sweat into it, because the only way to clean it is dry cleaning. It's a $500 leather jacket, Italian leather. Very warm and comfortable, windproof, which is why I'm wearing it. And while I am warm and I'm sweating, I am not sweating into the jacket, thankfully. So I planned this out pretty well. And you'll probably think it's funny, I have another very nice Italian leather jacket that I ripped the sleeve on one time working on it in the winter time, and I use that one to clean the driveway with. Very warm, and I sweat into that one a lot, but I only wear it to clean the yard. So I don't care if it smells like an old goat. But when I rip the sleeve on that, It was a personal tragedy that upset me very much because it's a very nice bomber jacket. Fifth Avenue in New York. Italian leather. And I had another leather jacket. Actually, I got a few of them. I like leather jackets. I got one that's lambskin. That's really nice. I like that one a lot, actually. So, we're walking past Bates College. And since 1855, it says. And the muscles in my lower back feel a little tight from not being used, but nothing dramatic. So we're going to get snow tomorrow night, about 3 inches. Then we're going to get snow the next day, 2 inches, so 5 inches this week. And we're going to get 4 inches Saturday and 7 inches Sunday. Good news is we're halfway through February, and we are going to start moderating in temperatures shortly. About another week and a half, we're going to start seeing around 30 degrees during the day, in the teens at night, which is normal. And then we're going to have in March, where it's usually 36 to 40 degrees during the day, and that'll be really nice actually, because things will start melting. We'll start thawing out. March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb, the old saying goes. Except last year it came in like a lamb and it left like a lion. We had 2 blizzards in the same week. Over 2 feet of snow in each one. One of them just under 2 feet, one of them over 2 feet. I did not enjoy cleaning those because it was wet, heavy, sloppy stuff that clogs the snow thrower. So it was a long, tedious process. So we'll see what happens this year. Now I was looking at the temperature records for February and March. This is the coldest it's been here since the 1940s, during World War II. So thought that was interesting. Last night was -7. The record was 1943, I think. It was -11. So, you know, this isn't climate change. It's the natural occurrence of things. When the jet stream dips low in the country, you get a lot more winter weather and nasty stuff for the southern states, and we get damn cold. And that's what happens here. Now this here, you'll see I'm taking little baby steps on, because this is the kind of thing that can be very dangerous. Thaws out during the day, and then when it gets dark, it refreezes and causes what's known as black ice. Ice you don't really see until you step on it. When you're driving anyway, you don't see it until you hit it, because it doesn't look like shiny gloss. So anyway, I'm happy you came along regardless. And we're gonna have to go through the judicial process. We knew we would. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is something really important, is Israel, Palestine, Hamas, and these hostages. We had a hostage deal worked out, and Hamas is dragging their feet. They're blaming Israel for breaking the agreement. But in reality, what's happening is I think Trump is right on this. I think Hamas is dragging their feet because they presented the best of their hostages in the best condition that they had, and the rest of them aren't doing too well. And they quite possibly are already dead. And Hamas was being dishonest about it because they're trying to get as many people released in the hostage trade as possible. And I think they've either run out of hostages or they don't want to bring who they have left to the forefront because of how bad the other ones started looking when they were released. I mean, that last guy that got released, he didn't look too good. You know, he was a pretty hefty guy when he was taken, and now he looks like a Holocaust camp victim. And you know, those bastards, okay, told him that his wife and daughter were alive and that he would see them again. And they did that as a cruel joke because they knew they were dead already. They were killed October 7th and he didn't know. They were all taken at the same time. And they were laughing about it when they told him that. They told him that his wife and kid were dead. And you know, that's the kind of people these are. They're cruel, heartless, and in my opinion, I'll probably get crap for this from the YouTube algorithm, but there's a reason at the end of World War II that we made sure every Nazi paid for their crime with their lives to end what they were doing permanently. You can't leave Hamas in Palestine. You just can't. And that is blatantly obvious to Trump and Israel and anyone else, because Trump said that Gaza now belongs to the United States. And by saying that, that puts the leash on all these other Middle Eastern countries who don't want to start crap with the United States, especially Trump. So that's kind of a police force without having to put troops on the ground. Trump emphasized again today that troops are not going to be on the ground. This isn't going to be another quagmire, endless war costing taxpayers billions of dollars. He was very clear about that. What the United States is going to do is make a nice place for people to live. Palestinians can live there and have a society where they can actually do good for their families, and other people are going to live there too. It's going to be a lot like what Syria was before their civil war, where many people from different backgrounds, Christians, Muslim, and whatever else, all were living and working in the same place. Syria was actually very nice. Damascus was beautiful. People were happy. And then the militants came in, screwed everything up with the civil war. Assad is definitely no saint. I don't give him any kudos at all. But it's the same kind of thing you had with Gaddafi in Libya. And also, I'm pretty sure the United States was behind that civil war in Syria. And we cause all of these problems. That's just a fact. So it's going to be very interesting to see where we go from here. It's going to take a while, and it's something that's going to have to continue after Trump's out of office in Gaza. It's going to be a long process, but Trump realizes it is very important that the Middle Eastern countries around Israel that don't like Iran are the ones that do this. Very important. This cannot be a United States nation-building attempt, which will never work. And Trump understands that. So he had the King of Jordan in the Oval Office tonight to help incentivize Egypt and other Middle Eastern countries who hate Israel to get on board with this, because economically that's going to help everybody and there will be peace in the region. As long as you leave Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Palestine, you are always going to have war, death, killing, people suffering. And you know, the people in Palestine, they weren't doing very well before October 7th. You know, people need to understand that. You know, Hamas was confiscating aid packages that were being sent, repurposing everything for war. They're not friends of the Palestinian people. So, you know, you young people here protesting what happened, I am ashamed of you. I am ashamed. Anybody that's defending Hamas and what they did to the Palestinian people, if you really cared about the Palestinian people, you would be upset about it. Thanks. You would be upset about it. You know, these babies were getting sick, didn't have food or formula because Hamas was selling everything or hoarding everything to keep the population in control. Terrible. So, decided to go for a walk tonight, talk about things. Hope you don't mind. Whew, a little bit of ice skating right there. I had snow stuck on the bottom of my shoes. Both my feet went sliding. So anyway, we're just going for a walk, enjoying everything. Trump has given Hamas an ultimatum, which I support. He said, "We're done with the drib and drab," he said, that's a quote. The drib and drab of releasing a hostage here, one there. He said, "You got until Saturday at noon to release the hostages, or all hell's gonna break loose. We're done playing games." And some people were saying he's just going to get hostages killed. But the families have made it very clear something has to be done now, because they have intel from people that were released. Captives that they still have are not doing well. They're not going to survive much longer. And Hamas is playing games because they're not in good shape. So Hamas has a choice of doing the right thing, which is laughable because they won't, and turning them over no matter what condition they're in, and calling it a day, or you're going to get wiped off the face of the earth. Some of the hostages may be killed by Hamas, but if you don't do anything according to the families, these people are going to die anyway. So that is a tough call. That is the tough call that presidents make. That's why they assume the most powerful office in the world, because those are the decisions that you have to make. And it sounds like Trump has made it. He will carry through on it. It's not an empty threat. So that brings me up to my next topic. You have heard me talk about this occasionally on my walks. Prophets. Hey, prophets. Now this guy I like to rely on is quick to say that he is not a prophet. He just says God talks to him. He relays the information. You can take with it what you want. But he predicted the attack in New Orleans. And he also mentioned one in Las Vegas on the same day, which we got with the Tesla thing. And he said there would be in Nashville, Tennessee, all on the same day, but the one in Nashville never happened. So, and he acknowledges that. But the point is, he got 2 out of 3, and you know, maybe that third one was canceled for whatever reason. Maybe security, because of what happened that day, foiled the plans. We'll never know. But he is the one that predicted Trump assassination attempt at a rally. Said Trump would get shot by the ear. It would just miss his head. And he said it would bust Trump's eardrum, he said. This was 3 months before it happened. That's documented as fact. Not to be questioned. That video was uploaded on YouTube of him making that prediction 3 months before it happened. So it's documented, it's fact. He described everything. Trump going down on his knees, on the stage, everything. And he said Trump would go on to win the election. All of the lawfare would stop, which it did. And he was right about all of that. Now the reason why I'm mentioning him is he said that there's going to come, and he said this almost 3 months ago, and it was just around Christmas time, a little over a month ago. He said that there would be an issue with the hostages in Palestine, and Trump was going to end up finishing off Hamas, I believe is what he said. I'll have to go back and check that out. But he said we were going to use, and this is very important, he said we were going to use a weapon that people don't know about, that the United States has never used before. So he didn't know what that would be, but he said that's what he saw, and that's what he was told by God. So we'll see what happens with that. He also said that we needed to pray and intervene when Trump was being sworn in, because they were going to assassinate him, or try to, he said, during the inaugural parade. And we ended up getting very cold weather, and they had to cancel everything. So you can either say that prayer interceded and prevented what he said was going to happen, or you could just call it a lucky coincidence. Whatever you want to call it, you're free to call it whatever you like. Now, there were 2 other prophets that said there would be an assassination attempt at the hockey arena that he was having this inaugural parade in. They had the parade indoors and nothing happened. So again, this guy was clear to say that that's not my prediction. That is the prediction of other people. But we did have a blast of cold air for the first time in 40 years. The inauguration was canceled. Swearing in ceremony was canceled outdoors. So you can look at that whatever way you wish to. You can laugh at it and say it's a coincidence, or you can think that prayer intervened and messed up people's plans. Because he had mentioned that there were these white trucks which would have terrorists in them doing bad things to the crowd that attended the inauguration, an attack and simultaneously an assassination attempt. So obviously none of that happened. There were no reports of anything like that. But I'm just telling you regardless. So anyway, he says the United States is going to use a weapon we have not used before in combat on Hamas. Something to do with these hostages. So, and he said this all before Trump gave an ultimatum. So, very important to acknowledge that, as I have no sidewalk here to walk on, which is surprising. For some reason they didn't clear this off. And I don't have a sidewalk across the street either. So it is at night. This is usually way too busy for me to walk on. I would have taken another street, but it's nighttime and it's not as busy. So when I see cars coming, I'm gonna get the hell out of the way. I'm gonna go down over here on this little spot here that's cleared off. I'm not wearing any reflective clothing right now, so this is not good. What size is this jug here? Ooh, that's a big one. I'm going to take this white distilled vinegar jug right here. I'll walk on the side of the road. This is pretty precarious, folks. I had no idea these sidewalks weren't clear. Pray for me! Pray for me! I'll go up here where it's safe. I'll take the sidewalk wherever I can get them. Now I could have taken a side street, and I didn't. But we've had a lot of snow, as you can see. So you probably think this is amusing if you live down south, that we can get this much snow to really hamper the sidewalks this much, but here you go. I'm watching up ahead here. If I see a car coming, I'm gonna scoot off to the side on top of the snowbank, which is frozen hard enough to walk on. I just don't feel like wrestling with it. And a lot of times it'll feel firm, then all of a sudden it'll give out. And it feels just like stepping in a hole you didn't see, if you've ever done that. I'm almost up here where I can go ahead and make a left, and it's no longer a problem. All right, there we go. Now I'll be safe. So we're going to get so much snow this week and into the weekend that it's really going to screw up any more walking, which is another reason why I decided to walk tonight. As you can see, the snowbanks. The city is going to do snow removal at some point, where they have a machine that sticks an arm out and it pulls all these snowbanks, makes a line in the road, and then you run dump trucks off to the side, and a big snow thrower machine grinds up all the snowbanks that were pushed in the road and gets rid of it. And they take it off to they used to dump it down by a ravine behind the high school. The real problem is they put all of that calcium chloride in the road to melt the ice and snow, and it all ends up into the sewer system. And if you dump all of this snow down a hillside, it's going to melt, and all these calcium chloride deposits kill all the vegetation, and it salinates the water supply, so you can't dump it where people get their water from wells. So if you're wondering what they do with it, that's what they do. They find a place to dump it where it doesn't affect people and their water supply in their wells. I have city water, and there's a lot of people in places in this country where they don't trust the city water. I'm not sure if you should or not. I'm not advocating one way or the other, but I can tell you here, you let that water tap run and get all the water out of your pipes in your house, it gets nice and cold and fresh. Ooh, look at that moon. Don't know what it looks like on here. We'll get some fast moving clouds, but you have this our water comes from a lake about 5 miles from here, Lake Auburn. It's actually closer to about 8 miles, but Auburn is about 4 miles, I guess is the point I'm making. And so they don't allow any organic contaminants to get in the water. You can't swim there. You can go out on it in a boat. A lot of people have said, you know, why do people get to go out on it in boats? You know, you got oil and gasoline. Well, that can be filtered out and removed. Organic contaminants, on the other hand, is a different story. And the water is very, very, very clean, clear, and drinkable here, and it tastes like water is supposed to. It doesn't have a taste. Now, years ago when I was a kid, they used to over-chlorinate it, and they used to have fluoride in it, which they no longer do, thankfully. And they replaced a lot of the water infrastructure under the roads with all new modern piping that is safe chemically, allegedly. And it tastes very good water here. And the other thing is, every 6 months we get a water report mailed to the house, so you can actually look at it, and they also mail it in an email. It has all the accepted contaminants that you're always going to have, you can't get rid of. Even if you had your own well and everything was beautiful and non-contaminated, there's still going to be minerals in it and things in it. So We're in the last 2 miles of the walk. So going for a walk like this once in a while will help keep some muscle memory. I do feel better than I did on the last walk I took. Did not feel very good on that one. But this isn't bad. Also, it feels good when you stop. I'll take a nice hot shower, make something to eat. All will be right with the world. I think this week I'm gonna order groceries online, have them delivered, or I'll go pick them up. Depends on the weather. Nice moon shot with the church. And this is about the time the battery might give out. See what happens. I have it on my head so I can't physically see how much battery's left. I just wait until it beeps, pop in a new one. The battery does last a lot longer at night, I should add. Whew, be careful here. Very steep, and I can tell this is slippery. Little slippery spot here. So these people on the internet are crazy. Trump's been the president for 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We've had some plane crashes. Now he's getting blamed for those, which is completely ridiculous. He hasn't been in office long enough to cause anything like that. But they're very excited and anxious to blame him for everything. So they tried to blame him for egg prices, which last time I knew, the president really doesn't have much anything to do with bird flu. So they're grasping at straws because they're desperate, and Trump is being effective. And he's also popular. Despite all the propaganda they've been running, polls just came out yesterday. Trump's more popular than he ever has been. And 79% say that he's keeping his campaign promises. So, in other words, he's doing what people voted for him to do. And that includes that government reform. Democrats are going to have to come to grips with the fact that that's what the people want. So, if they turn around and just make this as an excuse to use Elon and Trump as a punching bag, that could be backlash back on them for that, because it looks like they're obstructing the good that they're doing, because they are. So this is going to be interesting to watch. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the corruption and fraud is going to come out. And the American public is going to be shocked. Democrats won't be able to defend their behavior. And like I said when I started this walk, they were so quick to knee-jerk because they thought they had something. And now they look like a monkey effing a football. How many times have I said that on my walk? And how many times does that come out to be true? Every single time. The Democrats did as much to lose the election as Trump did to win it with that stupid stuff. So crazy times. So we'll walk on up this way, try not to fall. I am going to walk straight this time instead of turning. Because we get better lighting. Plus, I don't have to go breaking records tonight. This is the first walk I take since the last walk you went with me on. So, plus I don't want to stop and have to change the battery in the cold. I got to take my gloves off to do that. Whew. I'm just sliding a little bit. I got loose snow on the bottom of my boots, and this is frozen more since when we walked through here earlier. So I gotta pace myself here. I don't want to fall on my can. Not something I want to do at 56. At 26 you fall and laugh about it. At 56 you get up slow, swearing usually. So alright, this is slippery right here, I can tell. Careful, careful. That's the thing, you know, I'm walking and looking for where it's safe to walk. It takes your eyes off traffic, so you got to do a lot of looking around. Thanks. All right. Try to keep my walks to be in the day, but that just didn't work out today. And like I said, it's not windy. And I just took the opportunity, said the heck with it, let's just do it. And weren't too bad. Of course, I'm not back yet, so I do have to be careful where I'm walking. Stuff is freezing more. That wasn't quite as frozen when I started out. Because now it's probably about 15, 16 degrees. Definitely in the teens. But I got a pretty good sweat. My face isn't cold because it's not windy. So my biggest problem in the last 3 walks, this one included, has been my lower back muscles. Losing muscle stamina and muscle memory. Everybody's had that point in their life where they started a new job and their muscles weren't used to that job. So the first week on that job, a lot of times your lower back would be upset with you, no matter what age you are. And then it gets used to it, and that's kind of what I'm doing again. You'd think after all that walking I did this year, which was a lot, my muscles would still be in tune, but they're not. Legs are okay, wind is okay. I'm not winded, I have excellent stamina there, I didn't lose that. Alright, be careful here. Ooh, this is glossy. I'll be really careful here. Oh yeah. Alright, I made that. I made it. So I'm kind of taking quick looks up ahead, seeing where the light reflects off the ice. You kind of like pick your path you're going to take. That's the safest. I'm at $3 gas now. February is the cheapest month for gas, as I stated when I started this walk. Typically we would see $2.18 right now, and it's still at $3, which means we're going to see $4 gas in the summertime. But hopefully Trump's executive orders for deregulation and increased production, like I said on the last walk before this one, it can take up to a year before you start seeing a difference. Like Biden signed those executive orders reversing Trump's energy policies, and the price of gas skyrocketed about a year later. They tried to blame it on, the media tried to call it the Putin price gas hike. Remember the Putin price hike? Putin's gas hike, they called it. Trying to blame the Ukraine war and the price of gas, when actual Biden finally caught on. Well, he was a puppet. His administration actually governing caught on and reinstated some of Trump's policies, his executive orders he had done, and some of the prices came down from 4 something to $3. Plus he emptied the national reserves, which Trump said they're going to fill back up again, because we have to have that in case of a oil emergency. So anyway, I'm going to cross over here. It's about time to sign off. I hope you enjoyed the walk with me. God bless you and your families. Say a prayer for Trump and his administration. And I want to call you guys to pray for President Trump and his agenda, and pray for God to intercede in this evil doing that these activist judges are doing, and to have some kind of shakeup happen to halt what they're doing. And I got a feeling that's going to come from public outcry. People are going to get pissed, and I think Democrats are going to cool their jets on that because of the corruption that they are showing. But anyway, say a prayer. God bless you and your family. Thank you for walking with me, and we will see you on the next walk, friends. Thank you very much. God bless you and your family. And I'm going to take this off and say see you on the next walk, everybody. Thanks for walking with me, and it was fun. So we'll see you on the next walk. Bye bye, friends. Bye bye.